We interrupt your programming to bring you this breaking news announcement. A police chase has ended here at the Bancroft overpass near 75. Behind me, you can see all the squad cars lined up. They were searching for the suspect in that Rite Aid robbery that led to a chase last night and then another chase this morning. Yeah, we're at the Fulton Lucas County line, and behind me is Central Avenue right now. Life Flight just taking off. They're transporting a woman who had stopped to help out with another accident. Lee, witnesses tell us it was a group of boys. One of them, they say, started shooting at the buildings. Another jumped up and down on all of these cars until the windshields broke. On the other side of that fence, we're looking at a big pile of scrap metal. It's on fire in the front. They took a crane and divided up the back so it wouldn't spread to this back end. In poker terms, Susan, he says officers managed to catch 2 of these jokers, and they're looking for a third. So when you look at the number of vehicles stolen, Toledo might seem like just another statistic. But when it happens to you, it gets a whole lot more personal. And so do the memories. Those at the premiere got to keep those special Harry Potter 3D glasses, but I was the only one who walked away with one of these, an invisibility cloak. It's very rare. Tony Geftos, 13 ABC Action News.
Our Tony Geftos, along with photojournalist Todd Gertner, were the only local news crew to make the trip to Ground Zero today. And Tony has more on this special ceremony.
It's an act of silent dignity, an answer to the destruction of 9/11. President Barack Obama placed a red, white, and blue wreath at Ground Zero under the survivor tree. It stands between the footprints of the Twin Towers, which fell during the terrorist attacks that changed the world.
My son was Christopher Santora. He was age 23, he was a firefighter with Engine 54.
Retired New York firefighter Alexander Santora lost his son in the collapse.
They lost all 15 guys that day. Christopher was the only one that was found from the engine. The other guys still never been found.
Santora was among the thousands who lined the sidewalks of New York to see the president's motorcade and mark the death of Osama bin Laden. The mastermind of 9/11 died late Sunday in Pakistan after a firefight with Navy SEALs who raided his compound. Days later, the president was in New York, shaking hands and bowing his head. For many, the death of bin Laden is reopening old wounds. The prevailing thought now is this gesture may allow those wounds to heal. For New York's police commissioner, the gesture brings symbolic closure, but not complete peace of mind.
I think it was a very significant event. I think it has the potential for changing the terrorist threat. Perhaps in the long term, in the short term, it may, in fact, increase it.
In many ways, today's ceremony was a run-through of what's to come in September on the 10th anniversary of 9/11.
Welcome back to 13 ABC Action News at 6 in HD. Glad you stayed with us. The Toledo Symphony Orchestra is back from New York, but the memories are still fresh.
And 13 ABC's Tony Geftos and photojournalist Todd Gertner were with the symphony as it played Carnegie Hall for the first time. And Tony, what a trip you had. Tell us about it.
Well, the word we kept hearing was fabulous, but really it was a lot of hard work and dedication to pull off the TSO's biggest performance ever. It started with an idea. The Toledo Symphony Orchestra would pair 2 pieces, Shostakovich Symphony No. 6 and the play Every Good Boy Deserves Favor. That play would be groundbreaking, with a full 80-piece orchestra performing a role, so the venue itself had to be big. And it doesn't get any bigger than New York City. TSO submitted its proposal 2 years ago to Carnegie Hall. The world-renowned concert hall was holding a guest series called Spring for Music. 3 years, 7 orchestras each year, and Toledo's would be among the first. 2 weeks before the trip, the TSO began rehearsals and preview performances at the Peristyle. Then, Friday afternoon, musicians boarded a plane bound for New York City. Hours later, they had arrived, ready for the Glass City to outshine the Big Apple. Saturday afternoon, hours before the performance, the Toledo Symphony rehearsed inside Carnegie, testing and adjusting the acoustics and checking stomachs for butterflies.
I mean, maybe when the auditorium is full, this is just a rehearsal, so I'm doing okay.
Then there were pre-parties hosted by Maumee Valley Country Day and the University of Toledo. TSO board member and president of ProMedica, Randy Ostra, said those here were representing all of Toledo.
I think there's quite a buzz, great pride for Toledo, and they should feel very good about their orchestra.
And after 2 years of preparing to play the fabled Carnegie Hall, it all comes down to this. The audience gave the Toledo Symphony a standing ovation. Half of those in the crowd, roughly 1,400, were from the Toledo area. Some were even here from China.
New York and Toledo, which is the better place?
I like Toledo.
She likes Toledo better than New York, believe it or not.
The night concluded with a wrap party at the Russian Tea Room.
It feels great. It feels great. We are all very proud. We are all very relieved. I think we all feel that we have climbed up the ladder. We have, climbed up on the milestone for the symphony.
A chance to bask in the afterglow and reflect on the performance of a lifetime. This marks the first time the Toledo Symphony has played Carnegie in its 67-year history, and the performers just kept saying they were so excited so many Toledoans were there to support them.
Tony, now you were planning this trip for a long time, but things got changed when President Obama was planning on going to Ground Zero, right?
Yeah, first for the president there, and so truly a trip of first for you. No
Absolutely.
question.
Yeah, it was the first time for the president, first time for the orchestra, and the first time I've ever been to New York City. Now, Todd and I didn't get a whole lot of downtime, but Friday night we did get to stop into the WABC Channel 7 studios and take a look here. We watched the newscast in person. Todd and I are on the ends, but that guy there, second to the left, you might recognize TV's Rob Powers, and he gave us a little tour of the station. It was pretty exciting to see him there in the Big Apple, and he tells everyone in Toledo hi. So hi from Rob.
You just brought back all kinds of stuff for us, Tony.
We did. That's
Great job.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
We have team coverage of this tragic accident tonight. Our Jennifer Gerald has new information about the victims, but we begin with our Tony Geftos, who's in Monroe with more on the crash and the investigation. Tony?
Lee, investigators have removed all 3 bodies from the wreckage. They plan to keep the plane right where it is while they try to figure out what caused it to crash. In an empty soccer field, this wreckage shows the aftermath of a plane crash, one that took 3 lives and left others deeply shaken.
And it started to go to its side, and I pointed at it and I was like, look, it's doing a trick for us. And he came around to the outer part of the court. He started coming back. He just crashed. It's like you see in the movies where it's just the funnel and then the cloud. And
Regan O'Connor is a junior at St. Mary's Catholic Central in Monroe. She was with 15 members of her high school tennis team at Munson Park this afternoon, waiting for a meet. She says the plane appeared to take off from the adjacent Custer Airport.
I thought it a little bit low to the ground, but I didn't see any problem with it. And a few minutes later, I heard a big backfire, and the engine stopped and heard the explosion.
James Hayes spotted the troubled aircraft from his back porch. He describes the engine as kicking back like one on a car, then going silent. Monroe police say they've never seen anything like it.
I've been here 25 years. I don't ever recall it. And like I spoke to you earlier, we had a plane flip over on the tarmac probably 20 years ago from high winds. But I can't recall ever having a crash.
13 ABC has learned the plane first took off from Toledo Suburban Airport in Lambertville, Michigan. It then went to Bedford County, Pennsylvania, before returning here to Monroe. The single-engine Piper Malibu Mirage is registered to FFF Aviation, based in the county. Brendan O'Connor, Regan's brother, took this picture minutes after the crash, a crash that Regan says could have injured her team, if not for the actions of the pilot.
I just want to, I don't know if his family's watching, but I just want his family to know that we really appreciate it, because it was obvious that he was going to avoid us, and I mean, it could have been our last day, and he made sure it wasn't.
The NTSB, National Transportation Safety Board, is handling this investigation, which could take months. Live in Monroe, Tony Geftos, 13 ABC Action News. Now a story you will only see on 13 ABC, dash cam footage of a dramatic chase through Holland and Springfield Township. It happened nearly 10 days ago. What's new this morning is this video where you can see exactly how the dangerous pursuit and crash unfolded. It's a wild chase through the winding streets of Springfield Township. Officers are trying to stop a suspected stolen pickup. The pursuit happened around 11 o'clock at night, a little more than 1 week ago. This is our first look at the dash cam footage, courtesy of Holland Police. The chief there says Lucas County Sheriff's deputies initially tried to pull over this suspicious truck when the driver took off. That was at Angola and Quigley. Holland Police quickly scrambled their cruisers to try to head off the chase. The driver led them into a neighborhood and lost control on Derbyshire Court. That's when the truck heads up a driveway, smashes through a fence, and crashes into a creek in the backyard of a house. Police then chased the driver on foot and catch him. Officers arrested Corey Royer, who's 40. They booked him into the Lucas County Jail for failure to comply and receiving stolen property, among other charges. According to Holland's police chief, the officers here did not initiate the pursuit, but they were here to assist the county and catch it all on video.
Right now, we're pulling into a private drive.
Investigators say the truck Royer was driving came back as stolen from a dealership in Defiance.
Crashing through a fence down in a ditch.
In the end, no one was hurt in the chase, a chase where officers from two agencies were able to work together to catch a suspect. According to court documents, Royer is being held on a $50,000 bond. He is due back in court in 2 weeks. One of the biggest parts of the pregame is the tailgating.
Well, Tony, he's a big Michigan fan. Don't know if you can tell by the maize and blue that he's wearing today. And in true Buckeye spirit, I thought that I would challenge him to a tailgate favorite. Hey, Tony.
Hey.
You ready for this challenge?
Yeah. Explain to me how this works again.
All right, this is cornhole.
Gotcha.
Michigan fans got to explain everything.
Maybe.
Here's how this works. You got 4 bags and then 2 boards. You get 1 point for getting it on the board and 3 points for getting it in the hole.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
So that's it. That's cornhole. First 1 to 21 wins.
All right, here we go. This is for Michigan. Ready?
Uh-huh. That went in the newspaper box.
Does that count?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, that person should have closed their moonroof anyway, right?
Let's give it another shot.
Okay.
It's a big day for Ohio State and Michigan as a... Oh!
Ooh, sorry, Ashley. Sorry. She'll be all right, right?
I don't think so. This game is not for you. I'm out of here.
Really?
Ugh. Michigan fans.
Okay, that's fine. That's not very sportsmanlike, but, you know, I'm terrible at this. Hope Michigan does better.
Well, I guess we'll find out today at noon,
Yeah,
Tony, now won't we?
We sure will.